The next item is 9742, and it's to review board policy CAI local homestead exemption, and we'll hear from Mr. Neil Vickers.
Thank you. So last summer, as part of the budget process and then the tax rate adoption process, there was quite a bit of discussion about our homestead exemptions, and specifically the exemption for those over 65 and disabled. Ultimately, the board adopted the policy maximum increase in that exemption of $10,000. But as is noted both in the rationale and also on page 129 as a note to the policy, it was also mentioned by Mark, our Citizens Communication earlier, the policy target of 60% would have required a larger increase in the annual exemption than the policy allows for. So there's a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a logic kind of conflict in the policy. So just a little bit of history for that. When we adopted this policy approximately 10 years ago, the exemption was only $75,000. It's been ratcheted up numerous times since then. So at the time, a $10,000 cap on a $75,000 exemption would have allowed for an increase, of almost 15% in any given year, which seemed more than adequate at the time. But it is true, and again, as Mark actually pointed out very well earlier, now on a $160,000 exemption, $10,000 only allows for about a 6% increase in appraised values before you hit there. So for the last few years, as appraised values have in fact grown at more than 6%, we have not been able to hit that policy target. So it was requested that this come back to the board well in advance of the budget process and tax rate process for this upcoming year. So it's back before the board. I will say I'm actually okay with the proposal made by our Citizens Communication earlier. It could be as simple, if the board actually wants to continue to support the 60%, a simple fix is just to remove the $10,000 cap per year and just leave it as our target is 60%, whatever that annual increase may be. There's not this is just discussion, so there's not really a proposal for the board to vote on, but just looking for some guidance on where we would like to go from here, and then we would bring back any draft language along with any estimated dollar impacts. Just a few figures just to keep in mind. We have about 65,000 now homesteads receiving this exemption. That obviously is a growing number, and is noted on page 129, is currently exempting just over $9 million in tax revenues as part of that program. So obviously any increase in that exemption will increase that number. There have been discussions in the past, many years ago, but it also came up a little bit last year about the expiration of a tax freeze for seniors and disabled. That is an option that is now available to community colleges. It didn't used to be, but now is. And we have provided analyses and are happy to bring that back again to kind of weigh the pros and cons of an outright tax freeze. I think what we pointed out last year when we had this discussion is we chose many years ago to increase the exemption annually in lieu of a freeze. If we were going to revisit the freeze, it seems to me that you would have to re-examine the amount of the exemption as opposed to doing both. We do have clearly the largest exemption in Central Texas, and as far as I know, I've never found anybody in the state that has a larger seniors exemption than we do. So again, to me, it would just seem to me that it would be either or, not both. So anyways, I'm happy to take any feedback for any proposals that we need to prepare for the trustees, and take any other questions.
Trustee Garkanian.
I had a quick question for you. So I'm curious, apart from, that 60% goal, the current policy then goes on to talk about $5,000 increments. And I'm wondering if that's something that we should also look at, in your opinion, as we have this conversation, and if having kind of a 5K increment is important to you.
Yeah, it's definitely not important to me. This is actually probably one of the few financial policies that predates me. But it was pointed out, I think, last year that to maybe consider a $1,000 increment as opposed to $5,000 that would allow a little bit more precision in hitting the 60% target, and that's true. And I think that would make sense to do that. I do agree that to have $5,000 increments and a $10,000 cap, I mean, it's just not a, you only have 3 actions, right? 0, 5, or 10. And so I think that is kind of fair game, so to speak, as well, as part of this conversation.
Trustee McRaven.
So you are going to bring us back all the different options of freeze, taking the cap off? I'm requesting that.
Okay, I'm looking for feedback as to what I need to bring back, and so.
So you're good. Thank you. Trustee Williams.
So it's one of those things to look at. Could you determine the impact of the tax cap and whether this has any impact on this, particularly as you relate to appraised value versus taxable values? Because I think the way the legislation is going to do, it's not going to change appraised value, but it is going to change taxable value. So people's, and the growth, which we have the 10% cap and all that, is going to come down. So what are the implications on that, if anything? Just use the current 2.5 just as a framework, but if you want to use 5 or something. And then also the idea of the other community colleges, just a benchmark, so to say, here's what we have, here's what other community colleges have, here's what the Travis County, really all of our regional jurisdictions. So just so we can see that data, so we know what we are relative to them. And then particularly if we look back versus future, when you look at the impact of this, some of this, if we raise it, we're going to have an immediate impact because people are going to get it maybe above where they are today. And then there's what's foregone in the future. So if we do what's the increase or the impact might be if assuming certain levels of property value increases, and that may be irrespective of the 2.5% cap. But if property values are flat, if they're 5%, if they're 10%, what would that mean to us?
Yep, absolutely. And that's what we've brought before, to actually show about a 30-year, kind of projection depending on different scenarios.
The odds are you'll still be here in 30 years, but the rest of us may not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. The 2.5%, by the way, would absolutely impact this because it's taxable value, not appraised value, that this is looking at. So the 10% homestead cap, by the way, so just to say out loud, homestead taxable values can only increase by 10% per year already under law. So effectively reducing that to 2.5% almost would solve this problem by itself. So yes, we can factor that in as well.
Trustee Stephanie?
Just one last question. Just for the purpose of budgeting, et cetera, how soon would you like to see the board take action on this?
Sure. We will be bringing, usually next month, we will kind of kick off the budget process with the trustees. Usually starts very high level. And of course, with this year, we'll kind of have to kind of slow roll it anyways because of the state appropriation questions because of the state legislature. But ultimately, if we're going to make changes to the exemptions, we need to do them in June. We're supposed to notify the appraisal districts by June 30th of any changes in our homestead exemptions. So once we kind of get into April and May, we'd want to kind of get committed about where we want to go with this. So that our June board meeting, we can actually adopt the exemption order.
Thank you, Mr. Vickers. Any more comments, questions? Thank you, Mr. Vickers.
Okay. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to look at item 9743, real estate update, and so we're going to go into executive session. The board will recess into executive session at 7:24 p.m. on Monday, February the 4th, 2019, pursuant to the following provisions of the Texas Government Code. 551.072 relating to the purchase, exchange, or lease of value of real property.